won the pole here at Indy. He brings the field to the green flag. The Xfinity Series back on the big track of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Two by two into turn one. We were wondering if there was going to be pack racing and drafting. Well, right now, Riley Herbst looks like he's blocking, or at least trying to. And around goes one car in turn three.
Oh,
the one of Sam Mayer.
Wow, Rick. That's the 8 of Sammy Smith, I saw going around as well. Damage, yeah, on the right-hand side of your screen, the 8. 2 Junior Motorsports cars involved.
15 of Josh Berry. I think the window net came down on that 15 car.
A lot of damage there for the 8 of Sammy Smith. Yeah, sure enough, the window net is down, and so Josh Berry's going to climb out. He was going to be doing double duty this weekend.
No luck for Josh in this 15. They had issues last week early as well.
This car was good in practice yesterday. Sorry, Rick. This car was good in practice yesterday, but not even a lap.
Oh, no, Jesse Love. Big damage to the right front. Connor Daly in the 26. I saw him 2 and 3 wide, but I couldn't really see where this started, Jeff.
Well, down the back straightaway, you said it, 2 and 3 wide. Everybody trying to get themselves in position.
That's AJ in the 16 that went to the outside of the one.
Yeah, and almost like the one just came around on him. Like, I didn't see any contact. Watch it again.
Yeah, it was very funny. Like, the 16 jumps to his outside, but physical space on the racetrack, I thought there was 3 distinct lanes.
What was interesting to me about that, now they're just along for the ride. Chandler Smith with big contact. And all these guys behind it, just nowhere to go. Look at A.J. Allmendinger, how slow they got in front of him. There was contact right there. Right front fender into the door of the 16. But very interesting how quickly Allmendinger was going around. And I think, here you go, right along SVG.
Oh, he does a really nice job. Gets lucky, no contact from behind.
Actually downshifted. You heard him downshift trying to get the car slowed down.
So what I don't understand, I saw the contact, but to your point, Jeff, I just can't believe the 16 has that amount of like gain of speed. Like, he was driving past the one. I don't know if the one was out of the gas or was just trying to settle in, but.
And there's no grip up there at all, so AJ didn't want to be there. It's almost like he had to go there or he's going to run into the back of the one.
First caution out in Indianapolis. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Great shot of downtown Indianapolis, and we are in Speedway, Indiana. Take a look at what happened here with the one.
Yeah, to be honest, we're still trying to figure it out. The one checks up a little bit, I think trying to maybe get behind the 9, and then the 88 of Clawful was there, and there's nowhere to go, and then AJ jumps up and makes it 3 wide. That's not a move that you would make unless you almost got surprised. You don't want to be that high on this racetrack. They were riding along with AJ, see what he's seeing. Everything's pretty calm up there. Now the bottom lane's rolling. Right here, I feel like maybe Mayor's thinking about going to the bottom, decides he can't, and now AJ is up there 3 wide, contact. It just all happened really quickly. Sometimes, Steve, these wrecks happen, and it's hard to say it was that person's fault, right? I mean, just everybody trying to get in line. And again, we talked about this low horsepower package. Big push on the inside line because they were drafting. Just a very odd looking wreck.
The whole cadence into turn 3 just didn't look normal to me. To your point, sometimes it's just a wreck. Racing happens, and that's what racing looked like to me.
And some really good race cars in that wreck. Sam Mayer was fast. Jesse Love was fast. Jeb Burton in the 27. He may have had the best car yesterday in practice. He got in that.
12 cars involved in this. They hadn't completed a lap yet here at Indy. Sam Mayer out of the car. 5th DNF for an accident this year. You can join NASCAR's free rewards program. Start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. Trade points in for free tickets or exclusive gear, autographed merchandise. Just visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards. Get started today. Today's aerial coverage is brought to you by Shady Rays as we look down on Speedway, Indiana here, and this historic racetrack. Beautiful area. The uniqueness of this racetrack there are homes right along the street here at Georgetown, which is right across the street from the racetrack. So nestled right into the neighborhoods here in Indianapolis. As we take a look at the playoff standings and the points, again, lap 1, a couple cars already out. Not a big deal for Sam Mayer. He's got 2 wins already, so it's not going to hurt him in that sense. Yeah,
but Sammy Smith, Ryan Sieg, Brandon Jones, it's a completely different look than it was just about 5 minutes ago.
Kim, how about the guy who is supposed to be driving the 15 right now?
That would be Josh Berry, looking for some extra seat time this weekend. Unfortunately, won't get much of that. What happened?
I was trying to watch the replay in there. It looked like Sam got 3 wide middle and got loose, and we all stacked. We couldn't see. We're all piled on top of each other and couldn't see, and kind of stacked into it, wrecked. So just obviously disappointing start. We had a good qualifying effort being in the top 10. This was in the wrong spot there, wrong time. So just want to thank everybody at AM Racing and Clutch Vodka for having me these last couple weeks. I hate we didn't get results that we should have, but the car was pretty solid in practice and obviously qualified well. I was excited to see how we did today.
That's Josh Berry. We'll see him tomorrow in the Cup race.
Yeah, wanting to get a little extra track time, and it was about 3/4 of a lap is all he was able to get in the Xfinity Series.
It not only hurts him in trying to get ready for tomorrow's race, it hurts AM Racing as they're trying to develop their race team. The reason they had Logano and Josh Berry in that car is to give an evaluation. Hey, what do we have? What do we need to be better? And now you got practice, Steve, but you didn't get that live fire, pit stops, all those kind of things that you need to see with a guy like Josh Berry driving your car.
Yeah, we'll set the stage for the 2024 for AM Racing. They had Haley Deegan for the majority of the season. They agreed to part ways. So to your point, they reached out to some Cup drivers to do just what you talked about, build the organization.
Dave, what about the 27 and Jeb Burton?
Rick, quickly on that 15 car, I saw Matt Lucas on the way out, the crew chief for the 15, and he said, yep, when we signed up for this, just shook his head and couldn't believe their luck. As for Jeb Burton, can't believe his luck either. The crew asked him once he got back out there, hey, how is the steering? Is it straight? And he goes, no, it's about 2 inches to the right, which is not good. They're asking him to live with it for now. He just came back down pit road. I'm going to go check with them again, see if they made any progress on that, and we'll listen in for Jeb. But it's going to be, he said it was so far off, he felt like he was going to blow a right front. So they've got to make that right before they go green here. Kim?
Dave, the other driver that's being asked to live with it would be Jesse Love in the 2 car. No right front fender all the way back to the door. His crew chief, Danny Stockman, so it's not ideal. I know. You also have the hood bumped up. I know you can feel all that. Do your best. Danny said if you can get tucked up behind someone and draft as best as you can, that's going to be the only solution I can really offer you.
Yeah, remember, in this generation of NASCAR, years ago, 20 years ago, you put another fender on it. You're not allowed anymore. None of those repair parts and pieces. You could really just use tape. You could tape the fender back together if it was still there, but obviously just damaged too much. And back to the 27 of Ward Burton, if the
Jeb.
I'm sorry, Jeb. Yeah, Ward's son.
So that would be a story.
That would be a story. So if the right front is bent like by itself, meaning that the parallel settings of the front tires is messed up, that's a problem. If just the steering box itself is bent, or really the pitman arm where both tires are turned to the left, now it's just uncomfortable for the driver. The concern is these long straightaways wear those front tires if they're towed in or towed out. So definitely something they're going to have to work on.
Here comes the choose as far as the inside or outside line. And the guy who was right in the middle of that 3 wide, Sam Mayer, is out of the infield care center with Kim.
Yeah, Sam, you were in the middle of all that melee. A lot of questions as to what happened, what started that. What can you tell us from your seat?
I don't know. I mean, I thought there was a car on my inside, I guess. I don't know if the 88 was in there or whoever it was in there or not, but just trying to give room, and there wasn't enough room to my inside. Oh, yeah, that's stupid. Okay. Frustrating. Obviously a really crappy way to kind of go into the off weeks like that. That's a bummer to watch right there. But our car's fast Xfinity internet. That's all you can really do. Huge thanks to Hugs for coming on board this weekend. Too bad it got cut short.
When you said that's stupid, specifically, what were you referring to?
That entire situation. We should not have been 3 wide going in there for absolutely no reason on the first lap. the guy on the outside is the first one to say, don't be too aggressive going like that, and then does that. And then the car on the inside is my teammate too, so that's frustrating.
That was great work by Kim to kind of understand, because as I listened, I'll be honest, I wasn't quite following it all as well.
Clarity there.
Now, he might go back and see it all. I mean, it's his opinion. You see the donut. I think the contact is clear. Just when we rode on board with the 16, I'm not sure AJ really wanted to be there. It seems like they kind of all stacked up.
And that's a young driver talking. He wanted to get to the inside. He didn't want to push the issue, right? He didn't want to cause a wreck by, getting down there too quick and putting the 88 in a bad position. So he didn't get aggressive on the first lap, trying not to prevent an issue, then got put 3 wide. And that's the balance between being aggressive and not aggressive enough.
Builds a lot of confidence for this next restart, Rick. Everything should be just fine now. No problem.
Well, they're 2x2 once again, and it's Custer and Herbst that will make up row 1. Brandon Jones in the 9 back there.
Pretty interesting, the 20 of Almirola. He could have picked the outside lane. Instead, he chose to be behind the 00 of Custer. So expect a huge push down this front straightaway from that 20 car.
Anthony Alfredo and Carson Quapple in the 88 making up row 3.
2 big winners at the top of the screen. You see that bright orange and white 48 of Parker Kligerman. Just in front of him on the outside, the 21. Austin Hill, both had to start in the rear, made big gains through that wreck.
In only 3/4 of a lap. And back through the restart zone and back through the gears they go. Fanning out as we get ready to go into turn 1.
This is where the outside lane, if you can hold that position right there, now you got a little bit of an advantage down the back straightaway. There it is right there, just a little more power. Big block there by Custer.
Eric Almirola was looking to get behind that 00. Now Almirola on the high line had Riley Herbst in front of him. And drifting up the racetrack, the 00 of Cole Custer trying to fight back and get the lead back from Riley Herbst. Back onto the front stretch, getting ready to complete the first green flag lap here at Indy. And Custer has fought back and he takes the lead. They draft behind him. Eric Almirola is going to take second away from Riley Herbst, and here comes Brandon Jones.
Look at the run by the 5 car, that green car, Alfredo. Who's he going to push? He wants the bottom lane, so he gets behind the 9 and pushes him.
Almirola trying to draft off of Cole Custer in front. See Anthony Alfredo pushing the 9 past. Riley Herbst has fallen back to 5th now. '39 and '38 are going to work together. Riding along on that WeatherTech on board of Ben Gisbergen. Every lap, SVG says it's learning. He's trying to learn on the ovals.
You can almost hear in that throttle application his, a little bit of hesitancy and just trying to understand aero. AJ has to pick a lane here, 3 wide in front. I like the bottom.
Quaffle learned a little lesson there. He thought his teammate Algar was going to roll up behind him and push him. Justin's like, yeah, I got the inside, buddy. Made him 3 wide. Can't trust anybody.
Allgaier's closed the gap now between himself and Herbst. Quapple falling back to that 6th spot. Couple car lengths separating the top 2.
The 7 car of Allgaier, he is fast.
There's Josh Williams in the 11.
Yeah, watch the 7 car. He made some really aggressive moves. He was really good in practice. See how he has to turn before the 98 car? He has to do that to keep air on the nose, but look at the run he gets. Now he's showing the 98. He wants the spot, gets to that left rear quarter panel. Now he drags him back, moves away from him to get away from the side draft. Marty.
After a couple laps, Justin Allgaier told Jim Pullman, his crew chief, much better than practice. They were too tight on the corner exit on practice. But he also said something interesting on the radio, Jeff. He said, man, these runs are so hard to build. If you get any momentum at all, you have to capitalize on it. You can just tell in drivers' voices, Jeff, they're learning on the fly as we're watching.
Well, they really are. They've never run on a racetrack like this. They've run it at Atlanta, but that's not the same as this racetrack at all. This is a very flat racetrack, no grip. There's a lot of learning going on. And Steve, a lot of opportunity to make changes. Come down pit road, my car is not doing what I needed to do. I got to tell you, the crew chief, what it's doing so you can fix it.
A lot of question marks on the garage, though. As I walked the garage last night and again this morning, you know, they wanted to think that they could just add some downforce, change the height of the back of their car, and that would add the grip. But the crew chiefs I talked to said even the cars that look like they have more downforce don't seem to be driving a whole lot better. So a little bit of kind of bewilderment in the garage as we see the 2 of Jesse Love right in front of this 81 of Chandler Smith. Even without a right front fender, the 2 kind of making it work. He's back up to the 27th position. That's the 43 of Ellis right there on the outside.
Kim, what about A.J. Allmendinger?
Got a small piece of debris on the grill. Nothing the team is too concerned about right now. The water temp's pretty stable. They asked him to try and get it off in traffic on the straightaways. That car, though, right now, AJ said when he's behind another car is sliding the right rear. And this team, they made wholesale changes overnight to that race car because yesterday he was so tight. He was on top of the racetrack. He felt nervous, in fact, that he was going to put it in the wall. He said he was holding his breath every time he turned the wheel. And so, again, major changes from yesterday to today. It seems to be paying off, Dave, as AJ runs in the 7th position.
Eric Almirola runs in 2nd position now, and when I talked to his crew chief Tyler Allen about their car today, he said we'll have it trimmed out a lot. However, Eric was really good in turn 2 and turn 4. I loved our mid-corner speed there, and you can't do that unless you're glued to the track a little bit. So it was really a balance, and Steve, you know this. You got to choose what your driver will be fast with, and when you look at those corner speeds, you want to be faster there so you can set up the leader to pass him. So they didn't trim him out too far, he doesn't believe.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can make the car have as much straight line speed, but if you have to get out of the gas more than the others in the corner, you just kind of erase that advantage and it goes away.
Good battle right here. We saw that crash on the first lap, all the grass on the racetrack. Well, look at the grill, the 16. It's just full of grass, and that does 2 things. Number 1, it makes the engine run hotter. Number 2, it makes the car drive differently. So you got to get it cleaned off or the engine could overheat. You don't want to keep it, you don't want to clean it off because it actually helps the performance of the car. It takes drag away and adds downforce. That's a great combination. Very few things can do that.
That's right. As long as the engine doesn't run too hot, I agree. Leave that on there. Almirola showing the experience he has. We talked a lot about, you know, the different setup between aerodynamics and horsepower, but it's still Indianapolis, still these very challenging 4 corners. Eric Almirola has over 1,400 laps here just racing. Forget practice and testing and all the other things he was able to take part in as a cup driver. And I do think, even though the rules might be a little different, Jeff, all those laps have to help with the small details it takes to be good around here.
Yeah, watch what Cole Custer's doing. Look how far he stays out before he gets to the bottom of the corner, right? That is actually, even though he's running faster lap times, doing that, it's actually helping Almirola get clean air. Custer could actually close his entry up a little bit, take some of that air away from Almirola. It might make Custer go slower, but it would hurt Almirola to the point where I don't know if he could make the pass. Almirola is clearly faster.
Well, these 2 cars have pulled away from the pack. Allgaier running 3rd is 4.5 seconds behind these 2.
And I actually think for these 2, it could be a good idea to work together. So this is one of those tracks that even with the new pit road speed, there's some debate on whether you could pit under green right at the end of the stage and save a lap or not. It's kind of a coin flip, working the math. But if these two can draft down the straightaways, work through the corner, you see that gap back to Allgaier at 4.6 seconds. If they can continue to extend that, Jeff, that kind of shuts that opportunity off to pit before the end of the stage. As we see the 81 slow, Kim.
Yeah, he said he was losing fuel pressure and then came on and said, I have 0 fuel pressure. I am not going to make it back to pit road. So major issues for the 81 of Chandler Smith.
He is not able to get to an access road, and that brings the caution out. So there'll be a restart, but Chandler Smith. Take a look at what happened between the 9 and the 98 here.
Oh, Riley Herbst underneath. Brandon Jones gets really tight on the exit of that corner.
So that was an interesting battle between the 7 and the 9 and the 98. And it was interesting, Jeff, because it's almost like a mix of everybody having to work together. He came on the radio, Riley Herbst, and said, I'm better through the corners, but the JRM cars are better down the straightaway than me. We need to work together to stay as a group. So that was what they were trying to do. Now, the contact with him and the 9 may have not included that working together part, but it's almost like you have to find your partners on the track, Jeff. Stick with each other if you're going to make any progress towards the leaders.
Yeah, Marty, and I think that interesting conversation about I'm better in the corners, they're better down the straights, and that's the trade-off, Steve, that you talked about. You can make your car less drag, go down the straightaway, but it's not going to drive as well, and Riley Herbst noticing that in the guys he's racing against.
Interesting spot for a caution, 13 to go in the stage. So, you know, the conservative route is to just stay out right here and run to the end of the stage, score your points, and come pit. But with the fuel window being right around, we'll call it 45 laps, and with these yellows, they're going to be able to run more than 45 laps. You could pit here, and you don't need fuel again until the end of stage 2, which I expect to see everybody pit again as well. So, you know, I don't know what Custer and Almirola might do. You know, they probably would stay out, or Custer for sure, looking at those points. But there is an outside opportunity where I can make sense for pitting under this yellow. We'll just see if any of the crew chiefs opt to do that.
Little strategy move there. Let's see which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Since the start of the race, Parker Kligerman has made up 23 positions. Austin Hill 22. Again, those two had to start in the back. Ryan Sieg, Benedetto, and Kyle Sieg all making up teens as far as laps. Chandler Smith bringing out this caution. Unfortunately, we heard from Kim at the start of the show that this is a dream. This was a dream for Chandler Smith to be able to race at this racetrack, and very unfortunate that it only lasted 17 laps.
Yeah, this is not the dream he was hoping for. Turned into a little bit of a nightmare, and nothing really he did wrong. He was just behind that wreck that stacked up. So, you know, what that wreck did, though, when we, you know, the points, we have Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg only a point apart. And we have seen time and time again that these points really come down to stage points. Who can run inside the top 10 at the end of each stage? So as we see the 00 looking to come to pit road, I think this is going to be a split decision about priority. Yeah, it looks like Ryan Sieg might stay out for those points.
And Riley Herbst as well.
Brandon Jones potentially giving stage points up here. Dave.
Eric Almirola running second was filling up the mirror, the rear view mirror that is, of Cole Custer. What does he need? Not much. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel to fill it up. He said, I'd like the balance, just had a 4-wheel slide going. Kim?
And for Cole Custer, he said, I just need to be freed up a little bit, and the tires were losing a little bit of grip, but he said I might be better on fresher tires, so they did elect to bring him down. They're going to put fresh Goodyears on. You see the chassis adjustment to free him up, and Cole Custer will finish up service here, Marty.
Philip Bell, the crew chief for Brandon Jones, told me yesterday, I'm willing to be aggressive today, and this is a pretty aggressive move. You see the chassis change there. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, as Steve mentioned. This should get them to the end of stage 2. Justin Allgaier complimented Jim Pullman, said the changes you made were spot on. We are so much better today than we were yesterday. That's everybody leaving pit road, Rick, but we saw several teams decide to stay out here.
Yeah, 17 stayed out on the racetrack, Marty. Big gain there for Austin Hill, best pit crew on pit road. Indiana and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So much history here and so many things that take place in Indianapolis. We've seen great sporting events. The Olympic trials for swimming were held here. They've built a swimming pool inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. And then, of course, the Indy 500 in the month of May, and the Brickyard 400, as well as the Xfinity Series this weekend. Getting ready for the restart. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 250 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Marty.
Rick, that was a very fortunate pit stop for Brandon Jones and his race team. Philip Bella's crew chief did not know it, but when they came down pit road, they took all 4 tires off. They had a puncture that was starting to develop here on the right front tire for Brandon Jones. And again, they did not know that, so they pitted without that knowledge. That could have gotten a lot worse, Steve, had something else gotten into that tire.
Well, sometimes you have to get a little lucky. I think for the 9 of Brandon Jones, it tells me that they don't believe that points are a pathway to the playoffs, because I think staying out, Jeff and I were having this debate, right? And we don't know what the right answer is, but I think we can agree that staying on the racetrack was going to score more points in this stage. We don't know what would happen the rest of the race. So this call by the 9 tells me, Jeff, that they're thinking they need to be aggressive and try to win a race before the playoffs.
Yeah, I think when the green flag dropped, before the green flag dropped, they had a strategy. But once that wreck happened on the first lap, I think they needed to change their strategy. They could be leading this race right now. Okay, there was a puncture, but it wasn't through the tire.
Right.
I mean, we don't know that it would have leaked. I think they gave up a stage win, which would have been 10 points.
Nervous times, though, for the 9, the 00, the 88. These are cars that all were up front. Now they are dead in the middle of the pack. We see how quickly that turned into trouble on lap 1.
We'll see how the handling goes. The 98 of Riley Herbst and the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger making up row 1. Back into the restart zone, and green flag back in the air. Attempted a side draft there for the 98 of Herbst. Almost got into the side of the 16. Top Tuesday door to door. Now a little shove from Ryan Sieg is going to push Herbst out front.
A pair of Fords on the bottom.
And Riley Herbst is leading at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's Connor Daly in the 26 trying to move forward once again. He was involved in that lap 1 incident. Parker Kligerman has made his way up to the 5th spot. Remember, he started all the way at the back of this field. Some taking advantage of pit strategy, as we see Shane Van Gisbergen trying to make the pass here on Anthony Alfredo. Josh Bilicki to the outside as SVG goes by.
Watch the 20 car of Amarola behind Josh Bilicki. Entering turn 2. A little bit of contact. Sideways, Bilicki. Check that whole inside line up.
Side by side for position as we see the 31 moving to the outside. We'll see if Parker Retzlaff can complete this pass.
It's that yellow car, that 9 car we talked about. Brandon Jones. He pitted on lap 18. He has gotten in front of everybody else that pitted with him. So he is the first car on tires.
And how big of a difference will they make? Dave, what about Parker Kligerman and the moves he's made?
Yeah, Rick, he stayed out obviously on that pit stop, restarted in the 7th position. There you see the orange and white number 48. Now Parker is a man of habit. He's had the same image on his cell phone for the last 5 to 7 years. It's an image of a Formula One car going through a corner at Spa. It motivates him, but this week he decided to change it. He knew he would have a good race car. Remember, he crashed in qualifying, and he changed it to a mantra: find a way to win. Before they took the green today, Parker got on the radio to his crew. They had already repaired his race car. He said once again to them, find a way. Steve, is this the way? Staying out here, going to the end of the stage, do you see a way for a fast 48 car to make it from here to the victory lane?
Well, the positives for the 48 is to get out of traffic, get a little bit of a balance read on your car. You're going to score some points right here. So for the 48 who's above the cut line, I think that's a very high value. Now the challenge is going to be when he pits at the end of the stage, he's going to give up a ton of track position. So it'll really be a test of that mantra. Can he find a way through traffic once they have to give up that track position, as now we see the 9 continuing to move forward.
Brandon Jones back inside the top 10, and he's able to clear the 11 of Josh Williams. Marty.
Rick, I got to tell you, this drive for Brandon Jones since the restart is so impressive. Plus 11 spots and now in a position in 6 laps to collect some stage points. And Jeff, they told him on the radio, you are the furthest forward of everyone who pitted with us. You have a tire advantage on everyone in front of you. Now plus 12 for Brandon Jones. Do you want that information behind the wheel from your spotter, Jeff, to say, hey, you have the tire advantage, take advantage of it at the end of this stage?
Oh, for sure. And you know, my concern, as we said before the start of this run, was that he wasn't going to get back up there and get points and give points up. Well, guess what? He is going to get stage points, and he should be leading all the cars that have tires and on the same pit strategy as he is. So, and he's way faster than the 2 cars in front of him, so he could finish top 4 and get those stage points and get track position.
Now, what I thought I knew, I'm not sure I know anymore, which was track position, track position. Is the 9 this good? Or are the fresher tires this big of an advantage? Because the 00, the 7, the fresher tires are moving through the field, but these already were the cars that were at the front, so they had good pace.
Under 5 laps to go in stage 1. Again, the cars that have come to pit road: Brandon Jones, Allgaier, Retzlaff came on lap 5, Custer, Almirola, all inside the top 11. Under 4 laps to go.
So you see Brandon Jones is caught. DiBenedetto, Parker Kligerman's right in front of him. There's 2 guys with four laps to go. I think he can get. And Brandon knows the sense of urgency. I've talked to Brandon a lot about this year. He knows what he has to get done. Nobody needs to tell him these points matter.
I think Brandon Jones has been scratching his head after the move from Joe Gibbs Racing to Junior Motorsports. The results just haven't been there.
No, they really haven't, Rick. That has to be frustrating. But look what has happened as we're right on board with A.J. Allmendinger and that Celsius onboard camera right in front. Ryan Sieg in the 39. Well, look at the bottom left. Plus 14. Came in 22 points out of the playoffs between the issue, Sammy Smith getting in that accident. Sammy's not having a bad day still. He's running 20th. So it's not like he's wrecked his car and he can't compete, but just shows you what a good run does. Ryan Sieg currently projected to move all the way in to the green and plus 11. That's pretty good for starting the weekend delayed in travel, and Noah Gregson practicing your car for you while you were trying to find a flight to Indianapolis.
Yeah, Ryan Sieg, like so many others in the United States, had airline issues, and so he was a little bit late to practice yesterday, but has been able to get some laps and now is looking very good running in the 3rd spot. Marty?
Yeah, Rick, how many people woke up Friday morning, your flight is canceled? Ryan Sieg among those, and he said, I was really worried about even making it to the track for practice, made it halfway through, and yes, this call to put him out front, Matt Noyce making that call to, hey, we're going to take these stage points right here, and that could be the difference. You never know when you can gain points. This could be a big swing for Ryan Sieg in that 39 team.
Chasing after Allmendinger. And Allmendinger about 2.5 seconds behind Riley Herbst. Brandon Jones up to 5th now. 5.5 seconds back. He'll try to go by Kligerman before the end of this stage.
And Jones has now got a little bit of pressure from behind the 7 of Allgaier. You know, he's not right on his bumpers. You can see there's a gap back to him, but now that the 7's in clean air, there he is. That very dark car all by itself. It's hard to make out the car number, but that's the 7 of Allgaier. So he doesn't want to get held up behind the 48.
And again, under 2 laps remaining in stage 1. And the furthest forward of the cars that came to pit road is the 9 of Brandon Jones. He wants to get stage points. At the same time, with all these cars that are potentially in front of him at the end of this stage, they'll come to pit road. He'll take over the lead.
This is exactly what Steve talked about as Brandon's gotten hung up behind Kligerman. Allgaier's gotten right there.
Last lap of the stage. Is Allgaier going to be able to clear him? Now Brandon Jones is looking to the inside of Parker Kligerman. He takes the spot.
That was a huge move for the 9. Big opportunity to clear the 48. If he'd have been side by side, the 7 would have been attacking. Now can he kind of park the 7 back there behind the beside the 48? He does. That should give the 9 at least a chance to get back to the line.
He didn't get off of 2 very well. That allowed the 7 to catch up to him, but having a better turn 3, he's going to be able to drive away.
Riley Herbst is going to get the win for the stage. This battle right here is taking place for the 4th spot. Second stage win for Riley Herbst as he crosses the yard of bricks. Allmendinger will be second, third Sieg, and Brandon Jones holds off Allgaier for 4th, then 5th. Cole Custer battles back to 6th. Kligerman, Almirola, Quapple, and DiBenedetto rounding out the top 10 at the end of stage 1. It started off eventful with the wreck on lap 1 of this stage, but it was Riley Herbst who stays out and gets the win in stage 1. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Ashley, for the love of home, Shop in-store or online. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Great views today for aerial coverage brought to us by Shady Rays. Looking down on the front stretch here of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So before they come to pit road, let's take a look at the points as they run. Riley Herbst, you see him as the leader of the race up there in 8th. But Ryan Sieg and Sammy Smith, 11 points separating them the way they're running.
Yeah, really nice job by Ryan Sieg. It's one thing to make the call to stay on the racetrack, but you still have to, get a good restart, do what you have to do behind the wheel. He did that, finished 3rd in that stage.
8 stage points for Sieg.
We talk in the pre-race about the upcoming schedule. Just a reminder to the fans, Xfinity has 7 races, including today. They don't work on the same playoff schedule as the Cup cars. So we see Daytona, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol. We see quite the variety of racetracks, 7 including today, before the playoff field is set.
And we see who's making their way onto pit road now. Those that didn't come just a few laps ago. Dave.
Parker Kligerman got 7 stage points there. You saw him on the playoff standings, still 11th out of 12, so he needed those points. Good run for them. He said his car was tight. They're going to make a big adjustment, tape on the front of the grill, and then 3 rounds up on the track bar. That's significant. He hopes it'll help, Kim.
A.J. Allmendinger top right. The crew remind them where to put his left side tires. These boxes are so narrow. They want to make sure the crew has room to service the car without getting squeezed. A.J. said, by myself, I'm not bad getting in the corners. I'm just tight center off now. They'll make a chassis and air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Kim, Rick, and Steve talked about it. The valuable stage points for Ryan Sieg. Said he's too tight center exit for his car. Meanwhile, Riley Herbst on pit road. And he said the good news is we got our playoff point. The bad news is we're going to be deep in traffic for Riley Herbst, who's worried about being too free in all that traffic. Now the interesting part, Rick, is how far do all these cars start back in the field in this stage 2?
Well, surprisingly, only 10 cars stayed out, so the first off pit road gets that 11th spot here. We'll have a restart when we return. So after pits, the field is making the way back around, and we take a look at the playoff standings now after these pit stops, and that changes everything. The 12th right now is Parker Kligerman, 32 points above Sammy Smith, and Brandon Jones is now scored as the race leader.
That gives you a whole idea of what would happen if the 9 would win, how much it upsets the whole playoff leaderboard.
DJ, I want to know, did you take the elevator to get to where you are now?
No, I didn't, not this time. I actually thought I needed to take the steps, get a few steps in there today. But I love being in this part here in Victory Lane. So as we look at this and think about what happened there, a lot of gains as far as points were. You go all Parker Kligerman, you could never have too many of those. But Ryan Sieg, what a great move there. And if this happens to work out for Brandon Jones getting out front and gets this win today, my, how the playoff picture gets completely turned upside down.
I will tell you, DJ plays this down. You know, he loves to be in victory lane. He is a big race killer. And that guy, Daytona 500s and Brickyard 400s and Southern 500s, he was the guy. You would chase that 88. That thing would get on playing down the straightaways. DJ would muscle it through the corners.
How about this guy?
Yeah.
That's William Byron out for a jog.
I was supposed to jog with him, but he had to cover the race.
That's the reason.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason.
Just wanted to make sure.
Oh, Willie B is dialed in. I'm telling you, I know a little bit of a dry spell over the summer, won those races early, but I think that 24 is going to continue to be impressive second half of the year.
We jogged down to the pastry store this morning.
Yeah, it was closed, thank goodness.
How about you, Kim? Did you get some pastries this morning?
I actually did get a pastry. It was delicious. But let's look at Anthony Alfredo and see where he's running currently in the 7th position. And this team, we talk about them not having as many resources as some of the other big teams. Something that is in that kind of category is sim time. Anthony does not get sim time before the races, which means they really don't know where to start with their setup. So they came in kind of guessing. Crew Chief Joshua Graham said they weren't as trimmed out as the others for straight line speed, so they geared their setup more towards the balance side of things. It's working for Anthony right now. Like I mentioned, he's in the 7th position, and they paid attention to what Brandon Jones and those tires were able to do. They stayed out this last stop so that they had a set waiting later in the race.
You asked Kim about the pastry. I was thinking you were going to ask Kim if she went for a run this morning, because normally that would have been something that Kim would have done. A few penalties. The 48 and the 11 had issues on pit road. Now we're getting ready for the restart. Brandon Jones on the inside, Allgaier on the outside. Allgaier, the only driver in the field for the Xfinity Series that's won here on the oval. And he restarts on the outside of the front row as they get ready to go into turn 1.
Allgaier got up the racetrack just a little bit. That allowed Brandon Jones to clear him. Thought he was going to be able to be side by side with him, but he wasn't able to hold the spot.
How about Carson Qualpa right there, 5th car in line, pushing the 00 down the bottom. The youngster behind the wheel, the 88, continuing to impress. 21 years old out of Mooresville. Doesn't matter the size, type of racetrack, experience level at that racetrack. Finds his way to the front.
A lot of success in the late models right now for Carson Qualpa, and they're telling him, everyone that is mentoring him or giving him advice, saying don't be in such a hurry to move up through the rankings. You are great right now in the late models, and you're showing that no matter what kind of a car you get behind the wheel of, you can be competitive.
Connor Daly in the 26, a little IndyCar move, popped out of line at about the yard of bricks. Just unable to really kind of get that pass, although he still holds the position on the 39. Now it'll barely be who the 97 wants to follow. I think SVG has that opportunity to push one of them by. I would assume he's going to take the bottom. That would be the safer route.
Tell you, Sieg in that car on the outside, he did a great job of being right on the door of Connor Daly, and that allowed him to keep fighting. Without that, he isn't in this position. It was an aggressive move, but that's what you have to do. And here he is. He's going to still fight. So you got to be right on the door. See, he missed it that time a little bit. But he's able to slide in front of SVG. Nope, SVG not having it. That's a difference, Steve, between being right on the door and being 2 feet off of him. You need to be, because there's no grip of the racetrack up there, so you cannot give that space.
And I actually think that whole move right there for the 97 shows me how far he's come in the ovals. Right, he kind of defended the position, blocked down the front stretch. Really did a nice job for someone who just doesn't have a lot of experience at this style of racing. Obviously, so much skill. 3 times he's gone to victory lane at the road courses. Dave.
Well, and you guys have used the word learning for the 97 driver, and he told me this weekend, yes, it's absolutely about that. Every time he goes out, he learns a little bit more. And they're learning how to tune on the car for him, too. Whatever they did the first time, he said, I want that again, or maybe 3/4 of that. So communication with Bruce Slicker, his crew chief, working well and getting the 97 where it needs to be, just so he can drive it. He just wants to drive it, make passes where he can, and learn. Daniel Dye going to the inside there.
Jumps on the inside of the 44 of Brennan Poole.
3 wide.
That 2 still makes me laugh. No right front fender on that 2 as he gets a big toe on the 10 at the top of the screen. The 10 will defend.
We had heard Danny Stockman say, hey, follow somebody. Try to get behind him and use the draft because you don't have a right front fender to lean on.
At 31, Parker Retzlaff at the middle of this on the bottom. Big kind of hit in practice. They did a nice job repairing that 31, trying to recover. That was in practice.
Jones, Allgaier, Custer, Almirola, Quapple, the top 5.
That 31 car, he also just had an uncontrolled tire penalty, so he had to get through a lot of cars to get here. Dave.
Yeah, Jeff, they were not happy about that, especially since they'd been making some ground. Parker had told his team he wants a little bit better entry to the corner, a little tighter, more stable. But they worked hard on it. They spent 2 extra hours with NASCAR's permission working on that car last night to fix it, and an extra 45 minutes this morning. So it's been fast, and now he just has to find his way to get back up there. That strategy thing may come into play, but he's got to pass cars too.
Yeah, look how tight that race it is. You have to be so aggressive to clear the guy on the outside of you. If you're not, you get so slow down the straightaway. People behind you trying to make you put you 3 wide. Jeb knows it, moves down the racetrack. A big push from the 11. That's what you hope they do. You hope they push you rather than put you 3 wide.
Is it demoralizing to get passed by a car that doesn't have a right front fender?
Yes. Not that it ever happened to me.
That did sound a little personal.
Yeah. Experience, I think, speaking there, as we see Parker Kligerman easily go by the 91 there of Kyle Weatherman. Brandon Jones, now things heating up front here with Allgaier and Custer almost looking like they're working together. See if they can catch up to the 9.
You said it. Watch these 2 cars gain a little bit down the straight. This low horsepower allows you to draft up a little bit. See Allgaier showing it to him. Brandon Jones entering the corner low, trying to take air away from that 7 car.
That's exactly what you talked about earlier. Right, the 00 was making that late arc. The 9 had more straighter entry, almost like a defensive move.
And look at the gap it created. And I bet the 9 went slower doing it, but it hurt the 7 car more than it hurt him.
4-car breakaway now. They have 2 seconds between 4 cars, and Quapple is running 5th. It's Eric Almirola, the 4th car in this line.
Well, I have to say, nobody knew what this rule package would do, but this battle for the front, this is a lot of fun to watch.
So Jeff, in that first stage, we saw at the end of the first stage, we saw Brandon Jones storm through the field. Now he's trying to hold on to the lead against his teammate Justin Allgaier on the fresher tires. Watching Riley Herbst right now, he is the furthest forward, Steve, of those that put on brand new tires. He's already gained 3 positions, and he has tracked down those cars in front of him. So was it earlier Brandon Jones having a quicker car than the rest of the field, or was it the tires? Will what Riley Herbst does here, Steve, really tell us the tale of the tail with the tires?
I think it really will. I do think Riley will be able to get probably by the 88, but he'll use some tire up doing that. With 18 to go in this stage, it'll be interesting to see how far he drives forward. And the reason that matters is because that 40-lap final stage, if we get a caution halfway through, Rick, right, then what do? I think if you can restart, you know, 5th, 6th on tires, you're going to be okay. But if you have to go all the way back to 12th, I'm not sure there'd be enough time.
Allgaier looking once again as he goes to the inside for the lead. Allgaier to the inside of the 9. Cole Custer trying to figure out which way he's going to go. He's going to go past on the inside as well. Allgaier leading at Indy. But for how long? Here comes the 00. Cole Custer trying to take the lead back away.
So who does Brandon Jones go with right here? They're going to be side by side. Who's Brandon going to draft? Almirola also.
Both? He was trying to be right in the middle.
Custer with a shove from Brandon Jones, and Jones is going to clear the 7 for second.
Ooh, the 00 missed the bottom a little bit there. Will that be enough for the 9 to have a run?
Missed the bottom again.
So far it's working out for Cole Custer as he's now out front. Jones, Almirola, Allgaier.
Allgaier's like, what had just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, I just passed for the lead. Now I'm fourth.
A lot of positions changing up front, but now it's Cole Custer, the pole winner, who's leading. What a run by Riley Herbst in the 98. He's up to the 4th spot now and chasing after Allgaier. The announcement from Stewart-Haas Racing, or actually Haas factory team earlier, of Cole Custer going to be driving in the Cup Series next year. They've also mentioned that they have offered Riley Herbst one of the Xfinity rides for next year. There has not been a confirmation if he would accept that or not, but it has been offered to the driver of the 98.
You see right there at 98, really good on corner exit. About 12 lap fresher tires on the 98.
The Stewart-Haas cars kind of split the strategy. The 00 did one, the 98 did another.
Well, your chance of being wrong is
50-50.
50-50. That's my kind of plan.
Allgaier holding on to 3rd, 14 laps remaining in stage 2.
And you wonder about the 7. Remember, you see the damage on his rear bumper. Remember, he was in a little bit of that bumper car early. I don't know if it really hurt the car, but it's not showroom quality anymore.
Kim.
And Rick, you mentioned that announcement about Cole Custer returning to the Cup Series next season. We got that announcement here today. We know he's going to drive for the Haas factory team in 2025. But let's talk about the journey back to the Xfinity Series for Cole. Cole never once complained when he came back down to Xfinity. Instead, he put his head down, he went to work, and that work paid off last season in a championship. Yes, his goal was to get back to Cup, but we did not hear him complain about being back in in this series. And what we're seeing now, I feel like, is them defending that championship. They are putting together another title season run. We saw them in victory lane last week with that Pocono win. They've been consistent for the majority of the season. Winning the pole here today, all the teams I talked to in the garage today said it was Cole Custer with the target on his back today. They said he was going to be the car to beat, and we're seeing him out front right now.
And Kim, to go one step further, regular season points right now for Cole Custer, huge advantage. He's got 51 points on second. That's a race. He has a race advantage right now on second in the regular season point standings.
A great battle right here. 98 of Herbst finally getting by the 7. You see the momentum you lose if somebody gets underneath you. But going back to Custer, he didn't complain, but he didn't like it. He felt like all along he was a Cup driver, and he was committed to getting back to Cup. And, you know, he will be a better Cup driver for having gone through that. And there's no, you know, nothing is easy in this sport. And there's been many examples, Dale Jarrett being one of them, Mark Martin being one, where you had to take a step back and then you come back better. And I think that's what's going to happen with Cole Custer. But it put a chip on his shoulder, Steve. I mean, when we talked about it, as soon as it happened with him, he was not happy. He did not like it. He appreciated the opportunity in Xfinity, right? You can do both. You can appreciate the opportunity and still not like that you got out of Cup, but he's made the most of it.
And in a world where a lot of drivers are just expected to say the right things, he danced that line that you talked about, Jeff, right? He was appreciative, but never once did he shy away from he wanted to compete on Sundays.
Right. Yeah, his message was clear. His goal was out there, and he let everyone know what it was. And today, the announcement was made that he will be back behind the wheel of a Cup car in 2025. But right now, he's leading at Indianapolis in the Xfinity Series, trying to finish off the season and potentially defend that championship that he won last year.
26 years old. There's a lot of racing left in Cole Custer, and then that experience just makes him that much tougher, in my opinion.
Yeah, soon to be father. I saw him down there on the grid. I asked him how the family was. Everybody's doing great, but first child expected in the off weeks over the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
So back-to-back wins, leading to a 3-week off time with a, you know, having a child. There's a lot going on for this young man.
Yeah, wife Carrie, I'm sure, is watching going, okay, you guys, enough about all this great stuff about Cole Custer. But yeah, very exciting times for the entire family. Dave.
Rick, I want to give you a Toyota driver update, and that is with the second place driver, Eric Almirola, and what he's doing today is what has been expected of him this year on a semi-retirement tour, coming to the Xfinity Series just to have some fun with Joe Gibbs Racing. His crew chief was a promoted Tyler Allen. He was in the Cup Series last year with Christopher Bell as the lead engineer, got the promotion to crew chief this year. And Tyler says he loves working with the veteran Eric Almirola. He said the funny thing, though, is that we had to kind of get used to being back in the Xfinity Series. Eric was retiring from the Cup Series. Tyler came over from there. So we had to talk parts and pieces that we hadn't talked about in years. But it's been working. Their first time out at Richmond this year, second place. The next weekend, a win at Martinsville. It's going to be a great combination throughout the end of 24.
Custer's out in front. He has a 2-second advantage over the aforementioned Eric Almirola. Justin Allgaier has a mirror full of Brandon Jones here. This is for the 4th spot. Allgaier trying to hold off that 9 as they're under 6 laps to go now.
And behind him, A.J. Allmendinger.
Caution's come out.
Oh boy.
With 5 laps to go, you see a little bit of smoke there. And is that Brennan Poole that's coming at us here? Smoke coming out from behind the 44. Take a look at what happened.
Yeah, smoke already coming out from underneath it.
Oh man. So it's interesting because it could be an expired engine, or the way it's kind of
steering pump, Steve. Steering pump.
I was gonna say when the smoke comes out of the wheel wells like that, it's either an oil line or a power steering line or a power steering pump. As Dave just jumped in and told us, it looks like it's fluid under the hood versus a failed engine. Normally it's out the pipes.
He's headed to Case Kallenbach, who's new this week as far as crew chiefing for the 44.
It's unfortunate for the 44. We talk a lot about this rules package, but it's an opportunity for some of these teams to have a good run. And the timing.
Yeah, Steve, you're right on the number if you want to come right now.
Yeah, I think everybody can make it from here because you're going to get yellows at the end of stage 2. So we're 45 to go, but you're only going to have to run maybe 41-ish if it goes green. So, I think you have to come if you think this is the caution to try to win the race. The problem is, well, not the problem, but it's also an opportunity for other guys to stay out and just run a couple laps and finish the stage. So back to that conversation about Ryan Sieg, who's in 8th, right? Or Sammy Smith, who's in 19th. This is, I think, when you're going to have to points race, right? I think you're going to have to try to stay out and steal some stage points. That's assuming we get back racing. 4 to go right here. We'll have to wait to hear from NASCAR. They will not open pit road if they don't believe that we can see at least 1 green flag lap. I think the math works, right? Open it with 3 to go. Get 1 to go, 2 to go, green flag with 1 to go. So we might see like a 1-lap shootout.
They just have to make sure the track is clear, right? That power steering fluid came out of the car. Is it on the racetrack? Once they think it's clear, then they could get rolling here.
And as they run, by the way, that 12th spot, Ryan Sieg, and the 8 of Sammy Smith, they're tied. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with access to their in-car cameras, or you can choose from alternate camera angles. That way you can customize your streaming experience. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app.
The other advantage NASCAR has in trying to get back green before the end of the stage is that there's only 1 car lap down. So, you don't have to open pit road twice.
No, you can make it a quickie.
Exactly.
So that means basically a quickie yellow means lead lap and lap down cars can pit at once. We have a few tools in the toolbox to get this accomplished.
Kim.
And you saw the onboard a second ago of A.J. Allmendinger. He was telling his team, I struggle with the rear of the car off turn 4, still tight center off, asking for more of what they did on the last stop. I do think they will come down during this next caution opportunity. So A.J. Allmendinger looking for adjustments on that race car.
So the real challenge is, say if you are, Sieg or Sammy Smith and you stay out, if everyone else pits, I'm not sure you'll finish in the top 10, right? Because you take a restart, you would think you should be able to, but you go down to turn 1 and in only 1 lap, Jeff, right? If you get a little slide and new tires get you 2 wide and 3 wide, and you somehow lose momentum off turn 2 with this lower horsepower package, I think you should be able to come back around somewhere in the top 3 or 4, but easier said than done.
You could get freight trained, and we're hearing that pit road is still closed, and because of that, is that going to force this one to end?
Yeah, this should be the end of the stage then, because we're coming to 3 to go. You'd have to open pit lane right now. I don't believe. Oh, now pits are open, and you see right here, big decision. Custer, everybody gets the information. So a late call to open pit road. Looks like everybody gets it, except for, I bet that's Ryan Sieg, who stayed on the racetrack.
Dave.
Second place, Eric Almirola was told we are in our fuel window now. So go ahead and pit. We'll give you 4 tires. Eric said, I need the car to point better. Need a little bit of turn apex to exit. So they'll make that change with an air pressure adjustment. They'll fill it full of fuel, Kim.
For Cole Custer, the handling went away during that run. At the beginning, he said, I don't know if I would touch it. Then it got pretty tight. By the end, he said it's hard to manage when you go deep in a run. We'll look for an adjustment. You're seeing that right there. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Boy, that was a late call to open pit road. Good thing that most of them made it to the pit stall or pit road. So Riley Herbst said, we were really good to fire off. I just lost the front tires towards the end of the run. Justin Allgaier said the same thing. In fact, towards the end of that run, he said, quote, we're just absolutely plowing out here. So handling means a lot here. And Riley Herbst, how about that? What a job by that pit crew. They will win the race off pit road, gaining 2 spots, Rick.
Yeah, 2 spots gained by Herbst. He'll win the race off pit road. Custer, Almirola, Allmendinger, Allgaier, Austin Hill and SVG gaining spots, but 3 cars stayed out. So the 39, the 42, and the 45 all stayed out, stayed on the racetrack, and that means that the furthest up Herbst can start will be potentially that second row.
So if you are Ryan Sieg, what you've done is you stayed on the racetrack trying to get stage points. Steve laid it out. Can he keep everybody from getting by him and getting stage points? The key to that happening is the 2 cars behind him. What are they going to do? Are they going to stay on racetrack? Many times, Steve, slower cars will stay out, but they will go all the way to the back of the pack and use the next caution at the stage end to come in and pit. What do? I think the only chance for Sieg here is those 2 guys stay out and slow everybody up in turn 1 and let him get away.
And the choose is going to be very interesting, because if you are Herbst, you know, where do you pick with these used tires? Like, what position do you kind of get, you know, what lane do you pick?
Look at how close it was, and the 00 checked up, maybe gave that 98 a little shove. Yeah, those are teammates, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of the advantage of pitting later on pit road, is you can kind of pull out, and you can't pull out if you're stopped, but you can almost pull out on a narrow pit road and block it.
The 42 of Leland Honeyman, who's a driver who's been racing something since the age of 2. Was 3rd in the point standings for ARCA East back in 2022 when he was 17 years old.
Did you say 2?
He was 2. He's been racing something since he was 2 years old. I would imagine you would have done the same thing with your brother Ward.
I was running from him.
He was racing from Ward.
Yeah.
All right, you can see already Smithley has pulled, he is laying over and letting everybody go. Okay, so that's 1 car that Sieg did not want to see do that. So now he's going to have Herbst right behind him, pushing him into turn 1.
Or trying to pass him into turn 1.
Well, there's a couple signatures of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One is the very long, very narrow pit road, which we just saw the 98 and the 00 kind of make a little contact. The other signature is the restart zone on the front stretch is so flat, and the perception is almost a little difficult to kind of see. Jeff and I were just out there earlier today, and it's really hard to, I mean, this track has no elevation. It's just so flat that this has the makings for a stack up, right? A couple guys on older tires, a lot. The 98 and the 00 are going to try to roll into the zone to get a run. I mean, this is going to be a big moment here for the 39. Marty, he's going to have to really get a good acceleration to keep that 98 at bay.
Yeah, he needs a terrific restart here. Matt Noyce, his crew chief, just told me, he said, hey, listen, we saw the 8, Sammy Smith, on pit road for most of that caution. So for us, this was a no-brainer. Remember, they got 8 stage points in stage 1. This is heads-up racing at its best. There you see Smith finally has left pit road, but he's the last car on the lead lap. He's trying everything he can to take advantage of stage points here, Kim, as they battle it out, trying to make the playoffs with 7 races to go.
Yeah, and they'll likely have to come back down. It's just been bad luck after bad luck for Sammy Smith. Got caught up in that early incident to get the damage that you're seeing. Why were they on pit road? Well, the bare bond got pushed into the hole of the car that it was covering with the high speeds we see here at Indy, so they had to replace that bare bond. Crew Chief Adam Wall just kind of beside himself and all of the bad luck that they have been thrown this weekend.
DJ.
Yeah, guys, I was listening to you talk there about Ryan Sieg and what he might do. If it were me in this situation, I would wait as late in the restart zone as I possibly could to make that a shorter time, and those guys being anxious behind you, they're not going to get as good a run and jump on you. May work, may not, but that would be my thought process.
I like that, DJ. And then on top of that, no matter what, leave turn 1 super low. Do not allow that 98 to get underneath you. If you can leave turn 2 with the lead, you have a great chance, and you have to assume you have more speed than Honeyman Jr. on your outside. You should be able to beat him off turn 1.
Let's see how it works. They're getting ready to come into the restart zone right now. Back into the gas. Sieg getting a push from the 98s. They bottle up behind him. Parker Kligerman jumps out of line quite a few rows back. But Sieg surging ahead sideways. Behind him, it looked like the 0-0 of Cole Custer now on the outside, 3 wide. He may have had an issue on this restart.
Sieg got exactly what he wanted right there. They got bottled up in the second row.
Fighting for every spot. Sieg has a car link over Riley Herbst through the short chute. And coming into 4 for the final time of stage 2.
Great move by Sieg. Turned super early. Did not lose the bottom whatsoever.
And it's going to be Ryan Sieg. He's able to hold on and win stage 2.
That was great driving, understanding the situation and executing on all the things he needed to do by Sieg.
And any question about tires being necessary for a late yellow has gone out the window for me. Ryan Sieg has just proven on 23-lap older tires that track position is king. So I made a note, if I'm Almirola, Herbst, Allmendinger, Allgaier, Custer, any of those teams.
Ryan Sieg able to grab those 10 stage points for winning stage 2. It's his first stage win since 2022. think we lose sight of the enormity of what is Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It covers 560 acres. And you think about the sizes of some of the greatest coliseums, with the Roman Coliseum being 6 acres, Rose Bowl 10 acres, Liberty Island, the White House, Yankee Stadium. All of those things pale in comparison to what Indianapolis Motor Speedway is. The Vatican City is only 109 acres, and you look at Churchill Downs, a huge facility, 147 acres. So many things that you could see fitting inside the infield at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you can see right there part of the golf course that we were watching William Byron do a little jog on earlier as he's getting ready for tomorrow's Brickyard 400. All right, Steve, so Ryan Sieg was able to grab 10 bonus points, those points at the end of the stage. And so now we'll see him come to pit road. How does this change his whole strategy as far as winning this race?
Well, you know, he has guaranteed points at hand. And I think that is very, very valuable when you just look at what he's trying to do by pointing his way into the playoffs. So at this point, now you have to go to the back. You realize you're back here by choice. It was a strategy. You knew you were going to lose track position. But I've actually been really impressed with, we talk about the 39 cars calls, but he has speed to make it work. You know, staying out's one thing, but the speed's another. So I think he can recover. Dave?
Good job for Leland Honeyman Jr. in the 42. Started on the outside of the front row there, did not spin his tires, ended up finishing 9th in the stage, but he didn't wreck the field. For the 19-year-old, that's an accomplishment and a good run for him so far today, Marty.
The Ryan Sieg conversation between Rick and Steve was the same exact conversation between driver and crew chief Ryan Sieg and Matt Noyes. Ryan came on the radio and said, so we're going to be buried pretty deep on the field, but Matt Noyes said, yes, but we have 18 stage points. That is massive for our race team today. And he said, you're going to have about 35 laps to drive back to the top 10. You have a car easily good enough to do that. Let's make it happen.
Got to have those goals out in front of you. And you think about the greatest names in all of motorsports that have been able to win here, the different track surfaces, bricks, what it used to be, that has now been repaved. But NASCAR coming here in 1994. Two stages complete, so let's take a look at who grabbed the most points from those stages. Riley Herbst and Ryan Sieg both gaining 18 points from the two. Allmendinger, Almirola, Allgaier, Custer all grabbing some points there. Double digits in points from the stages. All right, DJ, I think actually Ryan Sieg was listening to you when he started a little bit later in that restart zone. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but he certainly did the right thing, and that was this has been a huge day for him, exactly what he and that team needed. And as I look forward in this, going back to the pre-race show, Marty asked me, will experience matter in who wins this race today? And I said, yes, I think it will. And when I look at Eric Almirola and Cole Custer, both former Cup drivers, that experience that they had there is going to help them battle this out before the end of the day and try to come up here and be the ones that visit me in victory lane at the end of this day.
It's got a pretty nice little area to hang out there as we're enjoying the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 250 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cole Custer won a week ago. Can he continue his winning ways? Dave, what about the 26 of Connor Daly?
Having a fun day. The Noblesville resident just nearby the speedway here. Connor Daly has raced in the Indianapolis 500 11 times, nearly won it a couple of times too. He's run over 1,600 laps here in an Indy car, but lately he's run just about anything he can get his hands on. This is not his first Xfinity Series start, but earlier this year he ran an ARCA car. He's been in the IndyCar Series a couple of times this year, and he's out here to have fun and learn, and boy has he been learning today. That car has been good. He's in the top 10 before the choose, and his crew chief just said, Chris Bowen said, he just has a way about race cars. He has a good race sense. No matter what he's driving, he just seems to take it well and go with it, and I think he's been doing that today.
And while IndyCar experience is definitely, a big change from what he's driving currently, I do think laps at the track help. The other thing, that 50-minute practice. We interviewed Connor Daly, and he just talked about how with these shortened schedules, everything else he gets in, you get like 10 or 15 laps, one run, maybe two, and off you go. And he was like, man, that 50 laps, a couple sets of tires was just so valuable for him to get a little bit more confidence in this 26 at a little bit more consumable pace. It's hard to kind of get thrown in there and be like, hey, man, you get one set of tires.
Yeah, we got to find a way to get some drivers with low track time, some more track time. It's just such a deficit.
Well, it's his first oval start in the Xfinity Series, right? So when we say he's been in this series before, that's primarily on the road courses.
Right. And getting ready for the choose. So we will see where Almirola is going to restart. He's going to go to the bottom, and Riley Herbst is going to follow him down there. Allmendinger will take the outside of row 1.
How about, as we're on board with Allmendinger, another one of our in-car cameras there. SVG has worked his way up into row 3, just, kind of methodically worked his way up here. And this will be, we talk about learning. Well, there's one thing about running the laps and racing, but Jeff, I don't think there's anything you can simulate like a restart and a restart near the front. The gamesmanship is different. The acceleration is different. From row 8 to row 1, 2, 3, very different. Now, he knows how to do this because he does it at the road courses all the time, but for the ovals in a place like Indy, navigating 1 and 2 in the aero and the situations he'll be put in.
Yeah, the road course is so different because really you're racing, 2 to 3 cars. Here you're racing, there's like 8, just because the guys in front of you influence so much of what's happening and the guys behind you. It's just a different level of intensity. We keep talking about these points. We showed the points earned today. We've been telling the Brandon Jones story. Got points in the first stage, 7 points. Then that last one had a bad pit stop, lost 5 spots on pit road, and then got put 3 wide, had to check up to avoid an incident. And now he's back there, did not get stage points, and he's back there in the pack further than he wants to be in 12th. So a day where it looked like they were going to be able to take advantage. So far, Sieg and that team has taken advantage. Now, the 9 car has cut into that lead, but they need a strong finish to this race, Steve. They've got to move forward from here.
To his inside, his teammate Carson Quavalini, we mentioned him. A lot of racing experience, but mostly on short tracks. Right behind him, I think that's Matty D, right? Matt DiBenedetto in that 38 it is. To his outside is the fenderless number 2, Jesse Love still holding on. The 19 right behind him, Joe Graff Jr. making his first start of the season. A guy we have seen in the series some. Found his way into this Joe Gibbs car. Great opportunity, and you see the tape. That first wreck, man, it banged up a lot of cars.
Yeah, cars that didn't get in it big, it's still damaged, and here aerodynamics means so much.
And we're going to have extended aerial coverage of the Pennzoil 250, brought to us by Shady Rays. As we get get ready for the restart and the start of stage 3. Allgaier able to put the bumper to the 16 of Allmendinger, and we'll see if that helps on that front row. They're side by side. Almirola on the inside, Allmendinger on the outside, and now Allmendinger trying to pull ahead. He can't make that pass.
Big push coming from behind.
Riley Herbst
really loose.
Riley Herbst went to the inside of the 20. Herbst now fighting for the lead with Allmendinger as they go into 3. Riley Herbst leading at Indy. Here comes Cole Custer in the 00. He's behind that 16.
First 2 wide to the 21, now 3 wide. The 97 goes to the bottom.
SVG trying to clear, and he does.
Whoa! Oh,
Almirola completely around, and the caution comes out. Amazing, nobody got into each other behind him.
Spun out, guys.
Sheldon Creed, the other Joe Gibbs car, had him lined right up. I was afraid it might be a Joe Gibbs Racing wreck.
Almirola was struggling with his car. He got really loose.
I'm going to try and not blow the fenders off of it. I'm going to come to you right now. I'm coming to you right away.
So he's saying, I'm coming this first time because
I did not hit anything.
He didn't hit anything. We got flat tires. You know, what happens is if they finally lose there and come apart, they will literally blow the fenders off the car. So he's trying to creep around here, but at the same time not lose a lap.
The left side both look up.
Yeah. See, the 21's underneath him, and the 21 got a little bit loose, got up the racetrack, and got into his left rear quarter panel. Looks like everybody got through that.
You could have a lazy spin at 145 miles an hour. It seems like that's what this was.
That's very fortunate. The 6th place car spins in front of everyone on a restart and essentially no contact from anyone. That is a little bit of luck. A little bit of a graze right there on the left rear quarter panel. I don't think any damage whatsoever, though.
Right along with SVG.
I will tell you from that view, from the other view, it was clear to me that the 21 made contact. I still have that opinion, but the 21 was much lower than I thought from the other view. When I look at the left side tires of the 21, I feel like Austin Hill is probably running as low as he can keep his race car. He just didn't have a lot of room to move up.
Dave.
That left rear quarter panel has some telltale color that is not black on the 20 car, so there's some evidence as well. And you heard Eric, the veteran, telling exactly what he wanted to do, what he felt, and what he was going to do. Tyler Allen, crew chief, told me that's one of the things about Eric. He will help direct the team. He won't always have the final opinion. I'm the crew chief, but he does that veteran thing of really knowing what he wants and how to get it. Marty?
Dave, for his part, Austin Hill said, man, I really did not want that to happen. He said, I was the one who almost wrecked coming off turn 4 and then going into 1. I really did not mean to hit him if I did hit him. And he said, we've been so tight. He said, I just don't know why the car is so tight. He could not get it to turn going into turn 1, and that's what caused the wreck.
So we've looked at it from a few different ways, but Jeff, I really think that bumper cam on the 97 for me tells the best story of how the contact was made. And I think this is just racing, but look at the left sides of the 21. We know you can go below the white line, but he's all the way against the concrete. He's coming up because it's corner exit. The 20 doing what he's trying to do, which is hold the 21 down because he's looking for momentum. I mean, that's just racing.
Yeah, well, look, it's definitely just racing. It's Indy, and everybody keeps talking about these cars. But see, right there, it just looks like he gets loose.
Yeah,
and he has to come up the racetrack just a little bit. But inches away from each other. I just said, here, go check it out. I just said if the 20 doesn't pinch to 21 down, the 20 has no shot. So he's clearly pinching him down, and right there, just a little bit of contact. But it's racing. Like, that's when we ask our drivers to give 100% and do everything that we want them to do and everything they have to do to be successful, these things will happen. And I just, you know, I know Austin Hill takes a little bit of heat for being aggressive, but I understand if Amarola's upset, but I just don't see where that's anything other than just two guys racing hard at a track that's very slick.
Well, and even the 20 on the radio, though, was he was matter of fact about what's wrong with his car coming to pit road. I mean, they call it an accident for a reason.
That's right. You know, we're all just really quick to point the fingers, and it's easy up here. I promise you, in there, it is a ton of work, and it's very difficult. You just can't just concede every spot. If you do, then you'll run about 30th every week.
Well, there we go again, Steve. The driver sticking up for these drivers out there.
Well, you run 30th every week. That's how I ended up in TV, I think.
Caution comes out again. That means a restart from Indianapolis Motor Speedway when we return.
Just the brick, baby!
Racing in Indianapolis on the big track is important for us.
I think it's going to give it that big event feel of the Brickyard again.
When I think of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I think of heroes winning and getting to kiss the bricks.
I wish I could put it in words. Today's been my entire life.
The only 5-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
A lot of top-name guys have won that race before.
I've never seen such a thing in my life, Kyle Busch.
To come here and win is a huge honor.
It's not another race. We're in Indy.
It is the Brickyard and the Brickyard 400. And we're looking forward to that tomorrow afternoon. Make sure to start your day off, though, in the morning. Watching a little golf. The Open will conclude from Royal Troon. And we'll find out who the Open champion is. And then Brickyard 400.
That's a day.
It is a day.
That is a day.
Pastries and golf? Coffee, pastries?
Oh, it's going to be an amazing
racing.
day. Amazing day. You know what I've learned, too, about the Brickyard is every time you watch a little practice, just try to predict what's going to happen, and you just never know what's going to, you know, whether it's sometimes it's the duel between just a couple guys to the front. Sometime we had that Casey Kane race that had restart after restart after restart. I mean, it's just always something. There's a thing that nobody sees coming, and who kind of adapts through that is normally ends up victory lane. And for a while there, you in the Brickyard, you were like destined to contend for the championship. I mean, it was like, it was a clear pathway.
Getting ready for the choose now as we'll watch Riley Herbst go to the inside, and Allmendinger will take that outside for row 1. Custer will be behind his teammate. Kim.
And A.J. Allmendinger currently running in the second position. And, you know, coming into this season, the team felt like this was their opportunity to win a championship because they gel so well, because they love their driver. They're willing to put in the effort. But the first half of the season really has not gone their way, despite being solidly in the playoff picture on points. Alex Yance, the crew chief, told me they just were kind of in a rut the first half of the season. But this last month, they feel like they have made some gains. In the last 4 races, they finished no worse than 11th with 2 top 10s in that mix. They're telling me that they have just made small steps in the right direction to get playoff ready, Dave.
SVG has chosen. He'll start on the inside of row 3. And he told me this morning, I've always wanted to race at Indianapolis, but I've got to treat it just like any other oval, a learning experience. And when you think about it, he's won 3 times this year. He's going to the playoffs. How many ovals? 6. How many road courses? 1. Marty, he's got to know how to do this.
Dave, another top 10 run for Carson Kvapil, sitting in 9th right now. You know, and it's crazy how good this young man has been this year. Originally, when the schedule came out for him, it had 4 races on it. Talking to the team earlier today, they're only going to have 4 weeks off the rest of the year. They've got sponsors. He's going to run almost all the Xfinity Series races left this year. The last Cars Tour race, Jeff Burton, was at Caraway Speedway. That's where Carson runs full-time. I don't think you could pick a polar opposite racetrack from Caraway Speedway than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Shows you how talented this young man is.
Right behind that 88 is that 18 of Sheldon Creed. We talked about him in the post or in the pre-race. We were talking about kind of trend reports, trending up, trending down. I really think the 18 almost gets a bad rap. We talk so much about not winning because, of course, we think he can win, and I believe he will win at some point this season. But this is a driver who's tied for the most top 5s with 8 in this series, and he's having just one of those okay days. Had to go to the back after an engine change. Car's pretty clean. I'm not sure they love the car they have, but these are the ones that make a difference, right? Restarting 12, can you find your way into the top 10 in these last 30 laps? Sheldon doing a nice job, almost not making the highlight reel either way yet today.
And known for the 10 second-place finishes, still without a win. So he's trying to change that statistic.
I wasn't going to put the number on, Rick. It was a lot.
Back into the restart zone, and back up through the gears they go. Riley Herbst getting a little bit of help from the 00 of Cole Custer, but that 16 of A.J. Allmendinger holding strong on the outside. Now who will get the assistance as they exit 2 and down the backstretch? Sideways as the 98, he catches it.
Wow, that was so close. Good job by everybody. Allmendinger recognized it, moved up the racetrack, gave him some space.
And Riley Herbst now fighting for second after having his hands full.
Oh, look at Allgaier being aggressive.
Custer takes second away. Allgaier pushed him up there.
Wow.
Take another look at how sideways this 98 was.
Yeah, really loose. Just a great job by everybody. Allmendinger gave him room. Allgaier gave him room. They all worked together through this situation. It took everybody to avoid that wreck.
Brandon Jones in the 9. Working to the outside of Jesse Love. Parker Kligerman back there in the 48, inside of the 88 of Carson Kvapil. Look at the move by the 19 of Joe Graff Jr.
27 of Jeb Burton got in that first lap wreck. Still battling, trying to get a good finish. Retzlaff, I saw how big of an issue he had off of 2. Lost tons of momentum.
They line up to go by Parker Retzlaff. Under 27 laps remaining in the race. And Allmendinger trying to pull away from Custer, but Custer fighting back. Just over a half a second separating those two. Now it's down to a little over a quarter of a second.
Yeah, that last lap by Custer, the fastest in the field. One of the fastest laps we've seen today, sub 55 seconds.
It's going to take all that Allmendinger has here. He's going to have to block. He's going to have to take every run away from Custer. Custer's car is just so fast. See him looking in that mirror. Look, look.
Yep.
He's spending a ton of time in that rearview mirror.
Got out of gas there, and that let Cole Custer get right up to his back bumper.
Look at now, he's looking out the left side mirror. So Custer's job is to try to get to that left rear quarter panel. Try to get as close as he can on corner entry. Take the air off the spoiler of that 16 car. Get the back of the car moving around.
Look at the run he has here. Cole Custer trying to take the lead away. To the inside, and Allmendinger is going to fall back to second.
Custer lost the bottom of the racetrack. Allmendinger with a big run. Custer overdrove too.
Oh, a little contact made there. Cole Custer, Allmendinger. Down the backstretch now, the 98's going to push.
What a great teammate, the 98 shoves the 00 by. And for that reason, he's now on the outside, which was not better for him. But he makes it work. And now the 7's going to think he's going to attack the 16 while he's losing spots.
See Allmendinger, he was looking out of that left side mirror to see how big of a block he could put on Allgaier in that 7 car.
Allgaier up to third.
And how about, you said it a minute ago, how about SVG in 5th? Hanging right there with this group.
Doing just such a good job. Let's take another look at how this all happened.
Cole Custer looked like he was coming down to block, but Allmendinger was already there. But then the 98 of Riley Herbst shoved the 00 past him.
It's good to have teammates, because right here, if Riley Herbst goes with Allmendinger, Allmendinger's got the lead back. But Riley says, nope, got my teammate, I got your back.
Riding along on the Celsius onboard of Allmendinger. Now AJ needs to regroup as he's fallen back to 4th. Trying to put some pressure on the 7 of Allgaier as he'll go to the inside to take 3rd away. Allgaier comes down to try to take the air off the spoiler. Here comes SVG. Ben Gisbergens decides to check up and stay behind the 7.
When he did that, Austin Hill saw that and tried to jump on the outside of him.
And when we talk about learning, I think that's the example. Is you give this guy another 10, 15, 20 starts, he takes that run on the outside. But he goes, you know what? 23 to go. Don't have a catastrophic mistake. just a little more patient, lifts and goes to the inside, even knowing that kind of hurt him with the 21.
And look at these Stewart-Haas Racing Xfinity drivers that have pulled away now from third.
So the real question now, Rick, is do these two work together? What I mean by that is push each other down the straightaway. The 00 could absolutely run a couple feet up, allowing the 98 to have a little bit of air and just try to get that gap back to the 16 big enough, and then maybe with 5 to go, try to, you know, figure it out between each other.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. I think for Riley Herbst, though, you have to, you know how track position is here. I think if you can get to this left rear quarter pounder, you have to take it. Even if he's trying to work with you, you got to just take advantage of it. If you get in front, you may not ever give that spot back up. This is to win the Brickyard.
Yeah, this is a hungry driver too, and Riley Herbst, he's not locked into the playoffs. He needs a win. Cole Custer, his teammate, just in front of him.
Oh, big run right here.
Is this the opportunity? Custer trying to break the draft. Herbst stays right in his tire tracks. Saw Riley turn just a little bit earlier.
So I just think this 98 car is faster. I think that he knows he's better than the 00. See how long he's able to stay on the bottom. That hurts his exit speed because he's kind of pinching the car off. It binds it up a little bit. But the fact that he can do that following this close, he tells me he has a better car than Custer.
There's the gap back to third, which is Allmendinger once again. Allmendinger in front of Allgaier. Van Gisbergen is fifth. Hill, Daly. Good run by Connor Daly, running 7.
He's there. He's there. He's got to run right here. Get to that left rear quarter panel. Slide draft him, slow him down. The question is, how does Custer respond here? Does he fall in behind him? He does.
Riley Herbst back out in front. Herbst has already led 20 laps of this race. Custer had led 38 before losing the lead. And you see the folks on top of his pit box cheering Riley Herbst on.
And you see the gap almost right away, Jeff, to your point. The 98 driving really good at this point in the race. 20 to go.
Yep, cheering him on. Mom and Dad up on top of the pit box. Riley Herbst out in front. big wreck here. You see the 11 stopped. So Josh Williams was not aware, it looked like, of the car slower than he was in front.
Well, I think it was the 31 that might have got
Parker
there first.
Retzlaff.
Yeah. Good to see Parker Retzlaff climbing out. You see the damage to the front and rear bumper, and then you mentioned Josh Williams' car.
And multiple things happened here.
Yeah, it started with the 5 first. He gets into the wall racing with Daniel Dye. And that got Anthony Alfredo off the pace. And then as he continued around off from turn 2, off the pace, that's when the others came on the scene. So here's the 5 racing with the 39 and the 10. 10, I think, gets a little free. Up the track, slight contact, but enough to bring the 5 all the way into the fence. Now the 5 has an issue and he's off the pace, right, Jeff? So the 10, we've seen this, right? Just tight or loose. I can't tell what he's struggling, but runs the 5 all the way to the wall.
Yeah, and then it 10's all the way on the bottom. And now the damage on this 5 car of Alfredo way up the racetrack. He cannot turn, right? So now we're on the exit of the corner. He's really slow. Contact now down the racetrack in front of.
Yeah, Parker Retzlaff doesn't see him.
Yeah, he was following another car. I didn't see that in the original view. So Parker Retzlaff is tucked up tight behind another car. Here we go. It's a black car in the row. The 28. Oh, man. The 28 zigs and the 31 then sees the 5.
And you don't know what kind of damage Alfredo has. It's easy to say, hey, what are you doing? He should have stayed up against the wall, not come down the racetrack, but clearly some kind of damage where he's not in complete control of his car. You know, when you have an incident, you want to just stay in a lane so everybody knows where you're going. But Alfredo's a good race car driver. He doesn't do silly things. He just could not control his race car, couldn't keep it up there.
And I didn't understand why the 31 didn't see him originally, but now it's clear. You know, the 31 is right behind the 28, trying to push him. A big hit from Alfredo on the inside wall.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that until that view. That was a big hit.
Wow.
It was just an unfortunate series of events here with a lot of impacts.
Yeah.
Big impacts.
Sends him into that inside wall. The 11 got into the back of the 31 after that contact was made. So it's the 7th caution that's come out here at Indy.
And the weekend started so good for that 31 car. They were fast in practice. Then the next lap made contact with the wall, and then nothing's gone right since.
Watch his hit on the right side of the screen for the 5. Look right. Nosed
that's
right in.
Yeah, that's a concrete wall over there, too, it looks like. Yeah. So Alfredo's car shortened after getting into the outside wall. Oh, it looks like they're safer barrier. Yep.
That's a great shot. I was under the same impression as you, Rick. From a distance, I could only see the one barrier, but that's a great shot that it is safer barrier.
Yeah, it didn't look like it gave any, but it must have been absorbing some of that impact that we saw out of Alfredo, but still a very hard impact for the driver of the 5.
Yeah, I used to call them soft walls. That was the terminology, and the drivers finally asked me, you know, safer barrier is a better terminology, and I see their point. Yeah. They're by no means soft.
You've hung out with me enough to know my limps and my aches. And
yeah,
my
that's
pains.
right. That's right.
What's wrong, Jeff? Well, this.
Yeah, this. Years of this.
And what a shame, you know, for a lot of young race car drivers trying to get, you know, it's late in the race, but still trying to get as much lap time as you can, and just a unfortunate set of circumstances.
All right, with 15 to go, we're coming to pit road being open. I don't believe the 98, the 00, 16-7. I'd be shocked if they think they can come take tires, but someone is going to. Someone in this field is going to think they have about 17 laps on their tires. Looks like A.J. Allmendinger is going to try the big fake. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm wrong. The SHR cars? No, they're not. But Allgaier, 97. Now the question is how many follow? Instantly, it looks like the majority, maybe 70% come to pit road. That'll be a big difference for the lineup, Dave.
Shane Van Gisbergen just needed a small adjustment for his race car, so it'll be an air pressure adjustment to that right rear tire. They've already put on fresh tires. It was talked about what would they be worth. They may be worth something here. Remember, he was running top 5, Marty.
Andy Street did not want Austin Hill to come down pit road at the last second. He said, stay out, stay out, stay out. Derek Nealon, the spotter, said, too late. We're already on pit road. They're going to come down for an adjustment. Justin Allgaier told Jim Pullman, I want to make a play for the win. We already have a win in the bank. I'm not worried about points. He said, I'm way too tight when I'm out front. And Pullman said, I think I want to free you up and watch you go. So interesting, Rick. Handfuls stay out. A lot of them come down pit road.
Connor Daly with a great stop there in the 26. He's going to win the race off of pit road. Here is why we're under caution for the 7th time. It was Anthony Alfredo coming off the wall. Parker Retzlaff gets into the back of him. Josh Williams into the back of him. And the caution came out. What a day it will be tomorrow. The Open Championship, that final round from Royal Troon begins at 7 a.m. Then countdown to green for the Brickyard from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And again, we'll be with Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, bet in stage 2. All right, let's hear from crew chief for Cole Custer, JT. Jonathan Tony's with Kim.
Yeah, he was able to lead Cole to a win last weekend. A lot of mixed strategy there on that caution. Guys coming down for 2 and 4 tires. You guys stayed out. How optimistic are you can hold them off?
I felt like our car's been really good all day. You know, the refire speed has been there all day, so probably have about 12 laps to go. So it's going to get exciting. Probably going to have some more cautions. Got our teammate up here. We're racing for the win. Man, this has been an awesome day.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Marty, we'll see if this team can go back-to-back.
Riley Herbst is out front. Davin Restivo has made the calls all day long. Walk me through why the decision to stay out.
Well, being the leader here with 12 to go, you're kind of in a sit and duck, right? They're going to do exactly the opposite of you. So we only got 11 laps on our tires green, and we've run 30 lap stages. We had more laps on our last set of tires we took off, and we obviously we stayed out earlier in the race, and it was okay. So I think by the time this ends, you're going to have, what, 20-some laps on your tires green, and that's less than what we've had last 2. So I think if they cool off, they'll refire. That should be fine right here. Clean air's king.
As teammates, how do you guys play this restart? Will Cole work with Riley?
Yeah, we've been working on that in the radio, trying to get Cole to go with us. I think he'll go with us. He's been a good teammate for us all day long, and has followed us in the previous couple restarts, and it's worked out pretty good for us. So I think he knows big picture.
So Jeff, I want to ask you, as a driver, a win on the line and a win in Indianapolis, much less, right? Would you help your teammate, or are you going to be selfish and choose the opposite lane from him?
57-year-old Jeff selfish, but when I drove, I would have helped and pushed, because you know it is probably in everybody's best interest to get away from that row. The question from the row next to you, the question is, which lane would I pick? That would be an even more difficult conversation to have. Pick the bottom, pick the top. We've seen the top prevail on the outside multiple times, so I don't know which lane I would pick, Steve.
Well, so it's crazy, right? Because you have Herbst, Custer, Allmendinger. How about Love there in 4th without a right front fender? Eric Almirola spun out and had to change tires. You wonder if that's not the, I'll call it fortunate strategy. He has a little bit fresher tires, not a ton, but a little bit fresher tires right there in the 5th position. And new tires themselves, we have John, let me see, no, we have Daly. I'm sorry, Daly in 10th on 2 tires. And then Austin Hill back at 12th, right? So Connor Daly will be the first on just 2 right side tires.
I think one of the crew chiefs we interviewed said this won't be the last caution, and I think that's why he said that, because if you look at who those guys with 4 tires have to go through, it is a big difference in speed. This restart is going to be wild.
And you see the nerves, so I believe the best chance for Herbst and Custer isn't to go green. You don't want, while you would think a caution would take away laps and tires won't have a chance, I think the tires will get a bunch right away. I think they're going to get maybe 2, 3, 4 in the first set of corners. If it goes green, I think the 98 and the 00 can kind of get out there and run as you see the SHR cars split the front row.
And how good of a push can Love give without a right front fender? Well, we're going to find out here in a lap. And Parker Retzlaff checked and released from the infield care center, and Dave is down there.
Yeah, Rick, the good thing is he walked out under his own power. What a weekend for you. The thrill of Indy and then the heartbreak as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I have a lot of questions about the wreck. So I just seen the replay of it for the first time. I don't know. He said that he had no clue that anybody was coming, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a spotter fault or who, but it just sucks for all these guys. We, worked so hard yesterday after my mistake in practice to wreck another car for really no reason. Just kind of hurts. But thank you to Funkaway and everyone who supports me, and I wish we could have done more.
Glad you're okay. Rick?
I mean, it sounds like he was hoping that Alfredo would have stayed out against the wall and not come back down in the track.
Yeah, of course. And you would expect, like I said before, you would expect that that's where he would stay. And knowing Anthony Alfredo, I have a hard time believing he just turned down into everybody, with ongoing traffic. But, obviously, if you're Parker, you're exceptionally frustrated with that. Now, this restart is going to be wild. The middle of this pack is going to be crazy because you have so many cars that really don't have a lot of pace in between guys with new tires and faster cars on top of that trying to get to the lead. You don't have any time to waste. You got to go. You got to make something happen if you're going to get to these 2 Stewart-Haas racing cars.
So under this most recent caution, the first that came off of pit road was Connor Daly, but only taking 2 tires. And Kyle Weatherman, Austin Hill, SVG, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, all back there with 4 tires. We'll see if that makes a difference. 11 laps remain in the race.
That's exactly right. Row 6, Rick. Row 6 is the fresher tires. We'll see.
So Herbst and Custer making up row 1 as we get ready for the restart. Herbst is going to have Allmendinger pushing from behind him. Love is behind Custer. Through the restart zone they go, up through the gears. See the 16 getting pushed around a little bit. He's got the 20 behind him pushing. 3 cars on the inside working together.
That was the 21 of Austin Hill with a big move to the bottom. Got by Connor Daly side by side up front.
Custer once again working that outside, and the 98, it looked like he might have got a little bit loose in 2. And here comes the 16, Allmendinger trying to take second away. Into 3, they're going to be 3 and 4 wide behind this group. 3 wide for second. Allmendinger trying to get down as Almirola has made the pass. He's up to second now.
You said it, Steve. That spin put them in a position to have to put tires on, so a little fresher tire than the 00 car.
Now can Cole Custer check out and run away from this group?
Look at the 21. He lost some spots there. Shane Van Gisbergen, he was able to get in front of him.
SVG with a great restart.
SVG and Sheldon Creed, the first two on new tires. You see him there behind Jesse Love, the car missing a fender. Then it's SVG, Sheldon Creed, and then this entire mess back here.
Yeah, that group working for every spot, every position, very hungry. Under 10 laps to go as the field comes back by the grandstand. 9 laps remaining. Riley Herbst all over the 20. The 20 got sideways and into the wall barely, but he keeps it straight.
Wow, that was quite the save.
Wall might have helped him a bit. So Herbst back up to second.
I mean, look at this. He is sideways.
Might not have even hit the wall. There was right there where the safer barrier ends. The 11 of Josh Williams was checked and released from the infield care center. Under 9 laps to go. Coming up on 8.
So Riley Herbst was faster than Cole Custer before this caution came out. He's got a second he's got to make up.
And 8 laps to do it in. Marty.
And Rick, as Jeff was saying that, he's quicker than his teammate Cole Custer. Riley Herbst came on the radio, said, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. Does he have time, though, Jeff? That's the question.
Well, we might get ready to see another caution here, Marty.
Yeah, the 00, or excuse me, the 07 slow. That's going to be a big opportunity if the yellow comes out for both Herbst and SVG and Creed.
He went behind the wall.
Oh, great move.
There was an opening in the wall, and the 07 of Greg Van Alst from Anderson, Indiana, decided he'd get behind the wall, and they stay green.
Good job.
Classy move. That's a guy that was only 1 lap down, right? If he gets pushed back, it would have definitely helped his finish, but he gets out of the way and lets the racing continue.
All right, so let's see. Yes, a 1/10 of a second faster Herbst was than Custer.
That a 1/10 of a second isn't going to do it. Only 7 laps to go. He's going to have to be a little bit more.
But as he gets a little closer, Rick, he may be get a little bit of a draft down these long straightaways with this low horsepower package.
Stewart-Haas Racing very strong over the past 2 weeks. Cole Custer getting the win at Pocono a week ago. Now he's out front with his teammate chasing him here at Indianapolis. Anthony Alfredo in the 5 also has been checked and released from the infield care center. See Eric Almirola running in that 3rd spot, seeing if he can reel back in Riley Herbst. 6 laps to go.
It did not have a good lap that time, Herbst. He actually ran about 0.3 of a second slower that lap than he did the lap before.
And Custer did as well, so the gap stays right at 1.1 seconds.
Oh, you can see the 98 car off the bottom of the racetrack exiting turn 2. Riley giving it all that he's got, trying to find that speed. It hurt him just a little bit, allowed Almirola to gain on him.
0.2 of a second lost to Custer, and Almirola now has closed in. Time winding down, though. Under 6 to go. Coming up on 5 remaining from here at Indy.
All right, I got to be precise. I have to be aggressive, but I have to be precise. I cannot make lap time at this racetrack if I'm not hitting my marks. So no matter what, just like that, you have to be on the racetrack where it needs to be. And if it's not fast enough, it's just not fast enough. But you cannot make lap time if you aren't in the right lane. That time Riley Herbst executed 1 and 2 as well as he could have. And Steve, if it's not fast enough, it's just not. But
that's right.
That's what you have to do as a race car driver. Getting out of the lane, trying to push too hard is not going to make the car go faster. Not here.
And you have to remember, if you're Riley Herbst, big picture. Think about the fact that right now, You're the first car as far as the playoff standings go on the list that hasn't got a win. You're the highest car scored based on points.
All right, that was a better lap.
Parents Troy and Laura cheering Riley on.
Yeah, 3/10 quicker. That's what he needs. He's got to have 4 perfect ones if he's going to have a chance.
And it's like you were coaching him, Jeff. It looked like he just relaxed and got his car back right in the lane.
Under a second is the gap. Is there enough time? Enough distance? 10 miles. Now it's under 10 miles down the back stretch. And you see SVG currently running in the 4th spot. Puts a block on.
Yeah, I think he just passed Allmendinger with those fresh tires. Creed chasing him as well. That matters. If we get a yellow, that's another position they're going to restart.
Custer trying to break the draft. Almirola staying right behind the 98 of Herbst.
Riley's closing this gap.
3 to go, and it's almost a half a second.
And that was 0.4 of a second faster than Custer. He will get there. What will he do, and what will Almirola do? Will he help, or will he be thinking 3 wide if the leaders get side by side?
This is to win at the Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What would you do if you were poised with that opportunity? The gap is closed. Under a half a second. Coming up on 2 laps to go from Indy.
Now it gets even harder. As you get closer, you have to be more precise. The air is not on your car the way you want it to. Riley doing a nice job of making sure he gets to the bottom of the racetrack right there.
Herbst is faster. 2 to go. And the gap is closed to under 0.3 of a second. He's going to get there.
Custer needs to change what he's doing. He needs to turn early, take the air away. Still that big arc. That's actually helping Riley.
What a run we've seen out of Riley Herbst. Down the backstretch. Custer trying to break that draft. As they go into 3. A car link separating these teammates.
Look at that run the 98 gets on corner exit. If he can do that again, he will be on his left rear quarter panel on the exit of 4. Yes, he's there.
Will it make the 0-0 loose? Side by side for the lead. A little contact made as they came out of 4. Here comes the 20 of Almirola. 3 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. And what a move right there. The 20 of Almirola takes the top spot away.
Riley still has time. Riley is faster than this 20 car. Oh yeah, he's going to be there. You have to get to his left rear quarter panel. Take the air off of him getting into turn 3 here.
He did it before with the 0-0. What will he do now through 3 and 4? Riley Herbst into 3. He's lower. He gets to the back bumper. Through the short chute. He's going to go for the lead. Through turn 4. He has the advantage. Here comes the 0-0. Onto the front stretch. Riley Herbst is going to win in Indianapolis.
Way to do it. Proud of you. Hell yeah, Riley Herbst. Good job, buddy. Oh yeah. Way to never quit.
A racing family. You see Father Troy up there on top of the pit box. Mom Laura all celebrating. This is win number 2, career win number 2 for Riley Herbst. His first one came at Las Vegas, his home racetrack, and now probably the biggest win of his career happens right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
the oval at Indy. Great race.
Riley Herbst has got his family here to celebrate, and they'll partake in the tradition that Dale Jarrett started, the kissing of the bricks. He's going to pull it up to the wall and do the burnout right there with his crew. The yard of bricks. In racing, it might be the most famous piece of real estate. The crew is going to start celebrating with him. We saw his mom and dad. They were making their way already, getting ready to celebrate. And I'm sure the driver, Kim, as he pulls off his helmet, is ready to start that celebration as well.
Absolutely. You know, Riley Herbst got his first career Xfinity Series win as his home track. He gets his second win at the Brickyard. Before we get into the meaning of this, that last lap, walk me through how you were able to overtake Eric Almirola.
Yeah, Kim, this is Indianapolis. This is the most famous racetrack in the world. It's an honor just to walk in this place, let alone win. Man, we've had speed all year, Kim, and I felt like we could win, and I just messed up on the restarts a little bit. And man, look, watching it right here, it was a good fight. I thought I had cold clear, and then he said bottom of 3 with the 20, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be tough. But yeah, I mean, I just continue to work. It's been a pretty tough week on me mentally, to be honest with you, Kim. So I'm proud of these guys, proud of everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing. Obviously the news of us shutting down, these guys could have given up on me, gone to different teams, but they stuck behind me in Cole, and that's back-to-back wins for Stewart-Haas Racing. Thank you so much, Monster Energy. I love you guys, everybody in Corona. Thank you to everybody in Las Vegas, my family. This is fun. I'm gonna go drink beer and turn my phone off for 3 weeks.
On the pace laps before the race, you talked to us about how sacred this place is. What does it mean to do it, and to do it with your family here, with your parents watching?
Yeah, this is hallowed ground, honestly. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Every person in the world wants to race here, and I won here. I don't care if it's the Xfinity Series, this is the Cup Series, it's the go-kart track out back. This is the Brickyard. This is Indianapolis. This is the coolest racetrack in the world, and I love you guys, and yeah, this is pretty sweet.
Congratulations. That is Riley Herbst. He is a winner at the Brickyard.
So cool to see the emotion.
You won't be able to get the smile off his face for 3 weeks.
Zane Smith, friends congratulating him.
What a race. This was coming to the white flag. Almirola makes the pass. He's actually leading when they get the 1 to go.
And watch Custer right here. He gives the spot up. And that, not contesting that spot, allows the 98 to go and take the battle to the 20 car.
I think Almirola drove the perfect race. Look at that sideways slide into turn 4. No way he was getting out of the gas. Thought the 20 was a perfect position. He just missed turn 3 just a little bit, but what a drive by the 98.
Well, 3 different drivers led the last 3 laps. Custer, then Almirola, and the most important, Riley Herbst. And the 98 team starts the celebration.